go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm Alex. That's Mike. We are The Good Brothers, the best brothers. We are your highwaymen from New York to LA. We're here to talk all pop culture, all WWE, AEW, anything we want to talk about. Mike, say hi to the folks.
Hi, folks. Mike, good brother. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I just saw the best trailer of my entire life this week, so I'm hyped. I'm ready.
Absolutely. And we have some release dates that have been dropped. We also have to honor a great in our industry and good brother. You mentioned that we are covering the WWE, AEW, New Japan, and it is one of our favorite weekends in the entire sports and entertainment calendar. It is Royal Rumble weekend. One man, one woman will main event WrestleMania, a two-night affair, and we will get to all that, including Wandavision. We got to talk about that. The Marvel Studios series continuing on its journey. But good brother, we start off with Cicely Tyson, dead at the age of 96. We are talking about Hollywood royalty. We are talking about a woman that was part of so many eras of film. She stood for so many things. She refused to play in movies when it was black exploitation. She was somebody who didn't want to play a maid, who didn't want to work at the time when they were called prostitutes. We call them sex workers now, but they didn't want to portray black women in any way that she could see the outside deeming very low class and demeaning. And you made sure to make a point of it when we were going down the show rundown of what we needed to tackle. And this was the first thing you wanted to talk about. So obviously, something a little bit out of our generation when it came to all the impact, but we're talking about an Academy Award winner in one of the high points of Hollywood in the 70s. Obviously impact in the television world with Emmys and Tonys. You loved her from all the stuff she did in the Tyler Perry stuff. So with all that, good brother, remembering just another legend, Larry King passed away a little while ago too. So it's like we're losing, 2020 may have passed, but life continues and this is part of life. Your thoughts after another lost life, another legend in our industry?
Well, you always have the benefit of she lived a nice, full life. And if we can, we always say, if you can live to your 90s, that's a beautiful, long life to have. She's royalty. For some people, I think the best way, you might have known her, she was in Roots. Yes. She was Kunta Kinte's mother. She was a 3-time Emmy-nominated actress, I believe one-time winner. And like you said, I believe she was the second black actor to even be nominated for an Academy Award. She's royalty there. She was also Viola Davis's mother in How to Get Away with Murder recently. And she was one of the more prominent older women in all the Tyler Perry movies, giving some great monologues, great acting. She was very well taken care of in her later years and was still working quite a bit as that grandmotherly figure for these well-known black actors. Very, she was motivating these young actors and, she lived a beautiful life. And I'm happy I got to get to know some of her work through the Tyler Perry movies. Say what you will about some of the more recent ones. We can't ignore how important those films were when they first came out. Black directed, black owned, black starring. So, and she was a huge part of that. So we're definitely sending our love to her family and friends and all of Hollywood right now that's hurting for her loss.
Absolutely. And it really does go to show, like you talk about when we talk about representation matters, that Tyler Perry really has made an entire generation proud of him when it comes to, uplifting the black community in film. Even if there's times where schlock or it's goofy or maybe even borders parody sometimes and like mimicking or mocking, if you will, it's still really important. And for her to kind of have that last hurrah in that genre is really, really cool. So obviously a life well lived, an important life, and we lost another good one, but at least the legacy will live on, and an important one at that. Good brother, let's move on to some really cool, fun news, something that we can enjoy, at least I believe we can, and that is WandaVision, Episode 4, we are going to do a general review on it. Of course, everybody's watching it. This is the first episode where I feel like there's actual real spoilers to be talked about. So we're going to just, before we get into what I want to talk about, which is a little spoiler heavy, good brother, let's go ahead and just say what we thought of the episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was the more mainstream of episodes. I feel like this is the more universally loved type of thing that you would see from an MCU property. Really enjoyed it. Recommend it. If you are having a hard time from 1 to 3, I believe 4 pays off everything. If you've enjoyed 1 through 3, you are now fully in the journey that is WandaVision. Good brother, your non-spoiler review.
Some quick little things. I love this episode. It was my favorite episode. I love when Marvel does the side character story. I think they have a great world, and I love seeing it. This isn't a spoiler, but Kat Denning obviously shows up in this episode.
Amazing.
In the trailer. And I like Kat Denning. I actually really do enjoy her style of humor.
Yeah.
That very smart aleck, Pete Davidson style humor, I would say. Like, I really enjoy her. And I can't remember the actor's name. He plays John Woo, though. He's great. I love this episode. I truly believe you should have released 1 through 3 together, and this be the first one coming out the second week. I think people were getting a little tired. And I think as good as this episode is, you might have lost some of the crew with that big jump from 2 to 3. And it kind of goes to show you, I enjoy this more than what's going on in the actual Wanda and Vision part, but it does set up that very well. But I really like this episode. It was my favorite of the season.
Absolutely. So if you are a little bit shy on continuing it, give it a try. If you are not sunk in and hooked in by episode 4, yeah. And if you're not, jump out. No big deal. We'll see you for Black Widow. But when it comes to, I think you might want to at least give this one a try. Good brother, let's go into spoilers because I really love what we saw in this episode. So spoilers for up to date of WandaVision on Disney Plus. We talked about it. Randall Park, who is Woo, amazing in it. He's so wonderful ever since Ant-Man. He's top tier. I really want to talk about this one though. We already said Kat Denning. She was amazing. I think I like her as Darcy more than I like her in Two Broke Girls because I think I
like Two Broke Girls. That's
it's really cute.
Pleasure. I do like that stage style of just unscripted humor like that.
Yeah, but I feel like her humor fits well into the MCU.
She's better with the script. I agree.
Yeah, so shout out to her though, and Two Broke Girls. Awesome that it's on syndication and whatnot. But we need to talk about this because I did not catch this until I saw the Twitter of WandaVision, the Captain Marvel connection. So obviously,
I noticed right away.
Monica Rambeau is the daughter that you see in Captain Marvel. And I had to do the math because your boy over here, Alex, and you're getting close to my age too. I'm going to be 31 this year. And I'm like, wait a minute, how could she be an agent if she was in Captain? I'm like, oh wait, no, the 90s were 30 years ago. Yeah, no,
she's like 40. She's about to be 40.
Yeah, so it's
the show.
So she's played by Tana Paris. Awesome. Yes. She kills it in it. And I love it. Casting is amazing. We're starting to find out what's going on with the universe. I love the ending, and we have to move on because it's a busy day on a Friday at TGIF. But what I loved about it is the ending, and just we knew what it was. We knew Wanda was doing all this, but the way they emphasize it, and even the way she delivers that line where it's like Wanda's doing this. This is all Wanda. It almost brought it to a different level where you're like, wait, what are we doing? What is Kevin Feige? You son of a bitch! What are we doing? You got to give him credit for that.
It was nice to be rewarded. I felt like it was it's one of those, sometimes the obvious answers, especially with films like this in a franchise, are the right answers. You don't want to be too surprised or too out of left field. And I appreciate that everything we theorized is pretty much what they told us finally. And that's good. You needed that with this type of show, I think. You couldn't have the benefit of a Christopher Nolan Tenet where, I'm enjoying being confused. No, you're Marvel and you're Disney. We do expect a little more, I knew it. And I appreciate them being like, well, yeah, it was obvious, but still, it made you think. And now you were rewarded for thinking. And I appreciate that. And that's why maybe I enjoyed this episode so much, because we started getting some answers, actually, that we had theorized about.
Final thing on the episode for me, my favorite single scene beyond the actual ending monologue and kind of how it all went together is the Vision scene.
Yes, I knew it.
Is when Vision's dead. Yeah.
Oh, scared the hell out of me.
I had to do a double take to it. I'm like, wait, what was that? And
I knew it.
great. Yeah, you know me too well. Great filming, great jump scare-esque, and still I'm like, oh, okay, I could. And here's the thing, good brother, and nobody's gonna really mention it, but if you give me more flavors on that, on what might be expecting in the Multiverse of Madness, we're in for a treat, I think. So I kind of like that, but so I think we both agree best episode of the series so far.
Yeah, so good. I love it. I know there's some people in the Twitterverse that are, well, we wish Wanda wasn't, kind of being a mad woman, but at the same time, that's the story.
That's Wanda.
It's the makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Like, she is emotionally unstable. Whether that's just her character's arc. Just like Thor had to get fat. Like, it just happens to your favorite characters sometimes.
Good brother. It's so interesting you say that. So our mother texted me a few days back. We were talking back and forth about some stuff. And she mentioned that she's watching WandaVision. Would you like to? This is a week ago before episode 4. Would you like to hear what she said?
I would. I have no guess, actually.
All right. So, hey, I watched WandaVision. A little weird, but I'm liking it. Is she imagining everything? There's a few hints, like when there's someone calling her name, Wanda. I'm like, something like that. In the comics, she had a famous comic where she changed all of reality by imagining it was something different. But in the comics, her brother's still alive and Magneto is her father. So now people are wondering if she's doing this or if she's under someone else's control. And she's like, oh, interested. Wow. So when I told her kind of like the history of Wanda, it interests her. And now she's peaked on, well, what's now going on? So I think people are saying, I wish Wanda wasn't like a mad woman or the bad guy. Wanda's, complicated.
Powerful. I think it's power.
Yeah.
I think it's like, no, that's how strong she really is. And you and me know about this because we're nerds. But I don't think anyone if you've only seen the MCU universe, understands truly how powerful she is. She might be, if you can argue she's one of the more powerful characters in the entire Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree. So shout out to them for, I think, bringing it home on episode 4 of WandaVision. But good, brother, we're talking about bringing it home. We're talking about knocking out of the ballpark. We're talking about global ramifications in a world where we're living in a pandemic. Everybody universally, beyond being upset at Robin Hood, is loving the trailer for Godzilla versus King Kong. I mean, look it. I'm going to let you gush on it so that, you're obviously doing this virtually. We're doing this safely. I don't want you to have any interruptions. Go, gush. Best trailer in 15 years. Let's do this.
It was definitely the best trailer of the year. I'm with you. It's so exciting because you and me were already hyped about this without a trailer. That's one of our favorite things is those kaiju movies. You're a huge Godzilla fan. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I'm a huge King Kong fan. You're a huge King Kong fan. To see universally everyone's so hyped about it, just as moviegoers, that's exciting. It has a Fast and Furious vibe of you may not have watched a lot of them, you may not know a lot of it, but you can jump in right now and still be very excited because of Godzilla, of King Kong. So I think it's going to get a lot of eyes. Obviously, that's why they moved it to Easter weekend, because they want to get a huge 5-day view. It's going to be very highly viewed. Coming off of Justice League the week before, which we'll talk about later. Trailer-wise, I thought it was perfect. You couldn't have done a better trailer. Just enough character work, but at the same time, we're getting the monster work of, well, why are they doing this? Well, we see a glimpse of Mecha Godzilla somewhere in there. Godzilla's upset about something we don't know about. King Kong has this whole... He's a grown man now. We got to remember, when we saw Kong, he was a baby. Now he is a grown, grizzled man. This mofo has weapons. He has a backstory. He's basically a superhero. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I want a fake wooden toy King Kong that controls the actual King Kong. I can't wait for this movie. I'm so excited. So excited.
Absolutely. It is a nuclear power plant. It is a monkey. It is the best things that we could possibly have. The trailer, let's start from the beginning. The trailer does something that Godzilla didn't do, and that Godzilla King of the Monsters specifically didn't do. We're getting to see these monsters. with brightness, with color, with like just love
Emotion.
and emotion. There's weight to it. And I loved King of the Monsters, and I unabashedly love Godzilla. I think that movie is so underrated. And I think this time around you're seeing what I think Kong Skull Island did wonderfully is it was very vibrant. It was a lot like it was a lot like those movies in the 70s where the colors and the orange and the green and the red, like it was poppy. Godzilla's haven't been like that the last two. This changed that. And I love now that they're having fun with it. I think the actors are playing at their perfect cheese. And I think people are just ready for this type of movie. I think people are excited. I think people have been, you and I talked about it last movie season that wasn't one. That Tenet and Wonder Woman were kind of like those tentpole movies that people wanted to see in the theaters. None of those movies, though, really had the same excitement energy that this one is bringing. This one, no, it's kind of like Rampage. The perfect example you made is it's Fast and the Furious. It knows what it is. It knows the audience. The audience knows what it is. Let's do this. That's how I feel. I just feel people are like, let's go.
So everyone's going to watch it. I think it's going to catch so many eyes because, again, whether you're a Godzilla fan or King Kong fan, one, this is the most thrilling trailer you've gotten in a very long time. And two, they're releasing it on a smart weekend because movies tend to do very well Easter weekend. And so I think it's going to make a little coin in the theater. And I think it's going to have a lot of views. We got to remember what helps the movie, it's already paid for.
Yeah.
They already sold it, $200 million. Nice price. They're like, we feel comfortable. We made our money. Like, if we get nice views, a couple subscriptions up, and maybe a little coin from that Easter weekend, like it's going to be worth it. So I think the movie is set up to do everything right. The toy lines that are going to come with it, the T-shirts, versus movies, regardless of how you feel about them after, have a lot of hype. Alien versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason. Like these movies tend to do very well. Because it's taking two audiences, sometimes a combined audience, and giving them something that they never thought they'd see on the big screen.
So let's go ahead and say we'll move on to the final last things that we got to get into, including what was impacted because of this. What is, I think, the Godzilla that we're seeing destroy everything, is that Mecha Godzilla with skin on it?
No, I think Godzilla's confused. And like, because, Godzilla, if we're taking our fighters, Godzilla don't got the mental game. Like, he gets taken advantage of, and he don't think clear. Like, he's a monster. Like, he a powerhouse. But that's where Kong has the advantage. And Kong can think. Kong's intelligent. Godzilla's not so intelligent. So I think he's being tricked a little bit. I think we saw the glimpse of Mecha Godzilla, like, in the full metal. I don't think it's a skin type thing. I think Godzilla's confused of a man-made monster, if I had to guess. Like, he's used to sensing out monsters, but now he doesn't understand what this is, this huge robot of sorts. So I think that's where we're leaning.
Interesting. Can I give you a boxing analogy of how I think this matchup is?
Yeah.
Godzilla's Tyson Fury. King Kong is Canelo.
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
So obviously, like, the guy who should win the fight is Godzilla. But man, Canelo's a bad dude. And like he lands one punch, including like having a big hammer that could take the atomic breath. You know what, good brother, I gotta admit, they put Kong over on that trailer.
They give him the tools, man, because I think he's the good guy. He's us. Like, if he's the relatable character, I believe.
But like, okay, I understand that because he's monkey. But my problem is Godzilla's Godzilla. Like that's it. That's the mecha. That's the T-Rex. That's the power plant. He lives in the water.
King of Skull Island, man.
Yeah, but his name literally has God in it. It's a dinosaur, Alex.
I don't know. Monkeys are smarter and they have opposable thumbs.
I do love monkeys. It's going to be a great movie. I don't care if it sucks. It's going to be great.
It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great.
I think it sucks, though. I think no matter what, it's going to be better than we got for King of the Monsters. And I think it's going to be better than Godzilla and Kong Skull Island. So I truly don't see it being worse. It's only going up. And now we get both of them.
Well, there's a lot of things going up after that trailer, good brother, but that's for a different show. So with that, there is a movement going on, and it wasn't that joke. Justice League has been moved to March 18th, 2021. Zack Snyder released some images of it. It's going to be one long movie now. So really fast, you have any thoughts on that? And then we got to get your Rumble predictions for a huge weekend in WWE.
Yeah, it's smart, obviously. I was hoping they would release it more as kind of how the Hateful Eight did, where in the theater it was 4 hours, but they released it like on Netflix like 4 increments. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish they would do that. You and me would watch it straight through, obviously. So I'm just curious how this affects the general audience of stopping and starting and what's a view and what's not a view and finishing. But I'm glad it's getting out there, and I'm glad this is going to come out before Godzilla and King Kong, because I want to see Godzilla and King Kong on that Easter weekend.
Very good. I'm excited.
It's a little bit more of a family film, I would say, because like as violent as it is, it's still a PG-13 monster violence compared to Justice League, which is an R.
And what, like you said, we've seen Justice League. Godzilla versus Kong, this movie we haven't seen, and families are going to get a chance to kind of pick sides and kind of have that excitement of like whose favorite's going to do this and stuff. So there's a little bit more of a gimmick on top of it, kind of like when Cloverfield came out in the Super Bowl, except this one's going to be, better. With that, good brother, let's talk about better. It's one of our favorite weekends. It's one of the things that's in our bucket list when they come to Chicago. The World Wrestling Entertainment, the WWE, the world leader, and AEW is really good too. But with that, it is one of the most important weekends in the industry. It is Royal Rumble weekend. 2 people will be main eventing WrestleMania as a woman superstar, as a male superstars. This is the chance where people become John Cena, good brother, to move into Hollywood, to get onto Jimmy Fallon. This is the first step to that, and that is if they book you to go over in the Royal Rumble. I have the cards. Let's run it down. Let's see how well we do, good brother. In the Royal Rumble, we will start off with some championship gold. Asuka, Charlotte defend the titles against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Who do you got?
Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
I 100% agree.
This is going to set up Charlotte against Asuka, because I think the belt's eventually going to go to Charlotte. And then my Royal Rumble winner is going to go against her at WrestleMania for a rematch.
Oh, we'll talk about that in just a second then. Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg for the WWE Championship.
Drew McIntyre, I think he's finally the wrestler. Like, it wasn't, obviously. I think he's the guy that beats Goldberg. I think it makes no sense to have him lose to Goldberg unless you're just going to do a rematch at WrestleMania. But I feel like this is all set up, not only to put more eyes on it, it's the last only WWE Network pay-per-view, because obviously Peacock is going to have the next one with the WWE Network.
We'll talk about that next week.
I think Drew McIntyre is the one that beats Goldberg again. That's going to lead to his match with the Royal Rumble winner.
I think Goldberg was brought in to just make you question if Drew McIntyre can lose. Yep. And you brought it up, Peacock, the move. We'll talk about that when this pay-per-view is over, because Fastlane will be the first pay-per-view on Peacock. I actually kind of love the move. You and I will talk about that, though, next week. I'm with you. Drew McIntyre wins in this matchup. Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, last man standing match. The question is, how over do they try to make Kevin Owens before Roman wins?
Man, they're putting him over, and I love it. Like, I love Kevin Owens, and this is some of the best work he's ever done. He's kind of doing the Jon Moxley thing, where you don't have to be winning all the time, or necessarily, like, you don't have to be the champion to be one of the main guys. And, like, this Roman Reigns feud is, like, top-notch Kevin Owens work right now.
Let's do this, good brothers. Roman Reigns, we know he's going to win this, but we don't know. At least it's not so obvious. In the next 2 matches, the most important matches that are not on WrestleMania, it is the men's Royal Rumble. It is the women's Royal Rumble. So we'll start off with the women's Royal Rumble. I do think the men's is going to win. So give me some general match predictions, some surprises, your winner for this women's Royal Rumble.
There's going to be too many surprises, obviously. A lot of NXT, a lot of these Hall of Famers like Lita and Trish Stratus doing little hints. So we'll always get something fun like that. I think this is definitely Rhea Ripley's thing. I think this is going to be her big coming out. She's going to win, and I think she's going to go to Raw, because I think Becky Lynch eventually goes back to SmackDown. I don't know if we get a Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey appearance still. I still think we're a little bit away from it. I think that's more of a SummerSlam thing, more with the bigger audience, but I could see Becky Lynch coming back possibly, but I'm not sure. But I think Rhea Ripley is going to be your winner, going for the Raw Women's Champion.
100% agree. Rhea Ripley is winning the Royal Rumble. She will be getting her match against Charlotte some way, somehow. I don't know. I think she will win. She'll get that W back in front of people in the stadium. A lot of these people are going to get their chance back at this. I do think that Becky is tough, man. She's a super athlete. She's super
working out a lot.
Yeah, she could
follow her. She could. Obviously, that changes the game. She's one of those names where you're like, yeah, that's a game changer. Then screw my pick, probably. Yeah.
But I don't think Ronda's going to be in there. I do not think Ronda's in the Royal Rumble.
I think that's SummerSlam. So I think she comes back when The Rock and stuff come back.
All right,
and Brock Lesnar.
Well, it's interesting. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, that is my surprise entrance in the Men's Royal Rumble. I will start off in the Men's Royal Rumble because I think this one's tough. I think they try to book it to make you think maybe it's Big E, maybe it's Apollo, maybe it's Daniel Bryan. I think it's plain and simple. Brock Lesnar wins the Men's Royal Rumble match. What do you got?
I like that guess. I have Keith Lee personally. Whoop, whoop. I think that this is the best way, with that character that, I'm not like other people. I think there's still enough in there.
I agree.
A Royal Rumble win, and I think they've set it up enough where you're he could beat Drew McIntyre. This could be a way to do it. I like your Brock Lesnar theory. My dark horse is Seth Rollins.
Oh.
I could see a Seth, because I also don't know necessarily whoever goes against. I don't think we're getting 2 title changes at Mania. I think whoever's facing Drew McIntyre will take the title because they've shown he's a big enough star. You can happen. We could have 0 title changes, honestly. But I think Roman is a safer bet to be I think Roman maintains his title for a while longer. So I can see them doing a Seth Rollins return when the Rumble, he's on SmackDown. You can do something fun there, and you're going to get a banger of a match together.
Interesting. I think
that's my dark horse. But I like your Brock Lesnar because I could see Lesnar coming back and getting that win, and Lesnar's money, obviously.
And maybe you do a double night type of thing where Drew loses the title to Lesnar in night 1, and then in night 2, Keith Lee wins the title. That's what people don't understand. It's there's a weird possibility that it's not just one person has a match. They might extend storylines into the next night. Daniel Bryan probably would have beat Triple H in the main event of Mania night 1 and then won the title main event night 2.
And remember, we still got the Money in the Bank out there.
Very interesting. Ooh, very interesting. I think that's more of a fast lane thing. But all in all, good brother, are you excited about the Royal Rumble, even though wrestling's been, other than SmackDown at times, has been kind of a drag?
Yeah, obviously when it comes to wrestling, SmackDown's been fantastic. Yeah. That's why they're having some better views, especially for nowadays where ratings don't mean as much because of obviously the way we view things. SmackDown to pull the numbers they do on Fox on a Friday night has been fantastic. NXT in-ring has been great. AEW has been real low to me lately, especially lately. I do like the Shaq stuff because, Shaq is Shaq, Shaq sells. That's huge for them, and all the cross promotion. And then obviously Monday Night Raw is still really rough. Hopefully the Royal Rumble, can really put a jump on some storytelling. But Royal Rumble's always exciting. We got to remember, number-wise, in the last 5 years, we've had more good than bad Royal Rumbles. We've had some Shinsuke actually won, and a Seth Rollins win, and a Becky Lynch. And we've had some really fun Royal Rumbles. So an Edge return, I'm all for it. I'm excited. I think they'll deliver. And I'm really curious to see where the storylines are going to go and the storylines they build in the Rumble that don't involve the title.
It's going to be really exciting. It's one of our favorite events of the year. Good brother, I know you got to get to it. You have a busy schedule ahead of you. Thank you so much for joining us virtually, getting your opinions down. And of course, we will make fun of you and everything you stand for if your opinions are wrong, as always. Good brother, thank you so much. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.
Adios.
For everybody else here at Mercado Airwaves, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Don't forget the Good Brothers on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram Mike Mercado Media, and the network's on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. The show's on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. We're trying to kick cancer's ass. Visit us at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Merc Out Cancer is something that we are trying to do. Proceeds going to cancer survivors and foundations. And of course, podcasts, wherever you get them, your favorite ones at Mercado Airwaves, patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Guys, I need to feed Alex somehow. Nicole's going to leave me, guys, if I don't start bringing cash in. Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado, I'm the good brother, Mike Mercado. We will see you next time here on The Good Brothers on the Mercado Airwaves Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.